This is Brian Carlton for ABN Newswire. I'm back at the Bowlers Club of New South Wales for the May Symposium Resources Roadshow, where listed, unlisted companies get up close and personal with potential investors to their mutual benefit in an informal but informative environment. One of the companies presenting tonight is in that latter group, about to list. Vantage Goldfields, whose ASX listing will be VGO when it happens, is an established player engaged in the mining and exploration of gold in the Barberton Greenstone Belt of South Africa. Now, it'll be listing on the ASX shortly on the back of an IPO. Joining me is Vantage Goldfields CEO Mike McChesney. Mike, good evening.
Good evening, Brian.
Now, you're an established gold producer in South Africa with a demonstrable track record in successfully developing and operating gold mines. Can you outline the scope and scale of your operations there at the moment?
The scope and scale of our operations at the moment is relatively small. We've been a privately or semi-private company for the past 3 or 4 years, and as a result we've been fairly constrained from a capital point of view. This listing is going to give us the opportunity to expand that from about 10,000 ounces of gold per annum to the 35 and eventually the 50,000 ounce per annum.
So that's a big increase, isn't it?
It's a big increase for us, but we're confident that we can do it. We have the assets to do it, and we have the management to do it.
Now, you plan to raise about 30 million Australian dollars at 40 cents a share. How is the subscription going so far?
Well, it's gone extremely well. We've had a lot of interest from institutions, but predominantly the retail market has really come in. We've got a very strong cornerstone investor in Platinum Asset Management. They invested 10 million in pre-IPO funds back in March, and they've invested a further $10 million in the IPO.
So what exactly will it be funding?
Well, the main reason for the funding is to fund our Lily project, which is our flagship project. It's been the one in production for the last number of years as an open cut mine. We've already taken it underground, but we'll be allocating about $22 million to the development of the increased underground mine and the processing plant for that.
That's a significant ramp up of your current activity, isn't it? You're looking at making this a much bigger operation.
We certainly are. Now, I think it's important to note that the Lily mine is probably the most drilled ore body in the Barberton Goldfield. It's got about 130 diamond drill holes into it. It's got over 30,000 meters of drilling. It's been subject to a full bankable feasibility study. And as a result, there's a high level of confidence around the ore body as such.
That's not your only operation, though. Barbrook and Worcester, are you working on those as well?
Yes, the second one would be Barbrook. We built Barbrook initially for its processing plant, which is now going to be renamed the Central Metallurgical Complex, the CMC, because initially 400,000 tonnes of ore per annum will go into the CMC. But then we'll tackle our Barbrook project in 2 stages. Because it's a system of multiple ore bodies, we intend to look at it in stage 1, where we'll go in on a smaller scale, much as we did with Lily, and then at a later stage ramp that up as well.
You've got further plans to explore as well?
Well, the exploration, I think, is the most exciting part of Vantage. While we're really building the company on a platform underpinned by solid production, both in Lily and Barbrook and possibly Worcester, we're in elephant country. The Barberton Goldfield hasn't
What a wonderful
been,
South African expression.
It is, because it hasn't been explored by modern exploration techniques in the last 20 to 30 years. The gold price has been relatively low. Our mineral laws have necessitated that people were not very active in that area. And as a result, this gives us the opportunity now to go and really undertake a very nice exploration program over the next few years.
Once the IPO is complete, what do you see your market cap at? Whereabouts?
Well, the market cap will be about $80 million once it's complete.
And at least one analysis of Vantage that I've seen moving forward is suggesting an early 50 share price isn't out of the question, but your list price is 40.
Well, we'd hope that it would go up. Many of our investors that invested seed money into the original company some years ago from the US and from the UK have invested at much higher prices than 40 cents. But after the GFC, the whole world changed a little bit and our valuations dropped. So I think at 40 cents, it's a very, very good price.
Why did you choose the ASX to list?
Well, everyone asks me that question, and it's a very good question. We considered listing in South Africa on the JSE, but South Africa is dominated by larger type of mining companies. There are only about 50 mining companies listed on the JSE, and Whereas here in Australia, you have, I think, over 650 mining companies listed. The other thing about Australia is that it is a very informed investing public, especially when it comes to junior companies and developing companies such as ours, whereas there's not a culture of smaller and junior companies in South Africa.
What sort of benefit did you derive from talking to potential investors tonight at the symposium?
I found it very, very good indeed. I like talking to Australians because they understand the type of mining that we do. Our geology is very similar to the gold mines in Western Australia, and I think Australians understand that. They understand the geology, the mining methods they're going to use. So I got the feeling that the audience I was talking to understood what we were about as Vantage.
And what key message did you want to get across to potential investors tonight? What's the major point?
I think the major point is that Vantage is a unique gold mine developer. It's underpinned by its production and a quick ramp up of that production to get strong cash flows. But its real upside is in its exploration potential. We're very hopeful of finding a couple of new deposits.
Mike McChesney, best of luck.
Thank you very much, Brian.
This is Brian Carlton for ABN Newswire.